Good morning, everybody. This is Grooves and Gratitude, day number 13.
Hello, everyone. I'm Jeannie, and I'm an alcoholic and addict.
My name is Andrew. I'm alcoholic as an addict. And as you can see, we're on separate screens again. I'm traveling a lot this month, and we're came up with this idea when we were on one of our walks to help improve each of our own personal journeys in recovery, but also to build up our friendship and our relationship as partners. We're a married couple. We met in a 12-step meeting in the summer of 2009, and it was music was the icebreaker that Jeannie used to talk to me, and she talked to me first. And she gave me her number first, and it was wonderful. Anyway, and we've been together ever since. We're winding up a week on step one, and this song I think borders on step 0, which we were talking about last week, and it's really the unmanageability and just the unbelievable sense of desperation that we have. But Maynard writes some amazing lyrics, and it's in the second album, I believe, that they released under the name A Perfect Circle. Someone feed the monkey while I dig in search of China. White as Dracula as I approach the bottom. That's some 12-step language right there. Desperate and ravenous, I'm so weak and powerless over you. Little angel, go away, come again some other day. The devil has my ear today. I'll never hear a word you say. He promised I would find a little solace and some peace of mind. And so the peace and relief that we get in recovery is right there. And we have this little voice in our head saying, it's not going to work. It's not, you're not worthy of being happy. Here, have this glass of whiskey. Here, smoke this substance, snort this substance, shoot this substance. It's all tempting, and it makes us desperate and ravenous, weak and powerless. I use the internet and concordances to find the instances of the word powerlessness in the literature. And turns out it's not that much in the big book, Jeannie. Almost all the references that came up when I searched for powerlessness in the primary literature came from the 12 and 12. And Jeannie's got a quote for us now.
Yeah, it comes from the 12 and 12. This is the AA version of it. On page 73, the second full paragraph. When we have finally admitted without reservation that we are powerless over alcohol, we are apt to breathe a great sigh of relief, saying, well, thank God that's over. I'll never have to go through that again. But we learn to our consternation that this is only the first milestone on the new road we are walking. So that is true. You feel like you've accomplished everything, after you have just a few days, a few months of sobriety, and that you've conquered that. And so now, everything will be smooth sailing, and you get on what we call a pink cloud. And it's really great. I'm glad that we do, because it helps get us through a lot of the rough times of the withdrawals. And but you do learn that life will still come at you. You will still have good days and bad days. Things will happen that will send you into orbit, but if you stay closely connected to the program with trying to pray daily and lift up things that do bother you, and then talking to another alcoholic about what you're going through, they will help you be able to take a situation and get you through it.
They call it white knuckling when you don't try to use all of these tools. And Jeannie and I have referenced a higher power a lot. Next week's starts on Friday. Tomorrow's 14. Starts on Thursday. We're going to be into our third week of this podcast live stream dealio, and we are going to be talking about steps 2 and 3, which does deal with the decision to choose a higher power. But I just want to say about this powerlessness thing. The world runs on power, and we live in a society where some of the more negative forms of power and domination are sort of the fuel on which society runs. And so we are very aware that this is countercultural, it's counterintuitive, it goes against your basic logic. Why would I want to be powerlessness? But there is a great relief and a great freedom that comes when you realize you are not in charge. You don't have to run everybody else's life. You don't even have to run your own life if you have the help of a momentum or a spirit or a breath of fresh air that is not of your own making. It kind of flows through you. And it's very hard to describe to people who don't believe in it or don't maybe buy the premise of it. But for practical purposes, only being responsible for you is a really cool idea, and one that gives us a lot of freedom. And so I didn't object to the idea of powerlessness because I immediately figured out that, like, oh, that means I'm not the boss of you, and that's a great relief.
Yes, that's very helpful for me, that I no longer had to be the one that took care of everything, be in control of it, down to the little minute details, that when you finally can release that and say, whew, I don't have to be in charge of that. And when I do try to be the one, I could look and see the unmanageability, the things that I would do thinking I knew best, and create messes, with it. So learning that being powerless and surrendering is actually gives you better strength. You end up being able to handle situations better than you thought by just releasing, letting whatever the problem is or whatever's going on, if you just stay out of it, if you just draw back and say, okay, I'm not going to try to engage in this, I'm not going to be the one that tries to say what happens, you finally start to see that, oh, they don't really need that input, and then it keeps me calm, and it keeps me from wanting to reach out and grab some substance to use to help get me through that stressful time.
I was in a job a couple of years ago where I had a lot of authority and a lot of responsibility, and you have a job currently where you have so much authority and so much responsibility. And I remember asking a mentor about several situations where it seemed like there was a roadblock had been created, and usually it was not a roadblock. It usually was like some glass and some nails in the road, and it was it was an animal running across the road. There were these surprise problems that would just arise out of interactions with other people, because we're all broken. All people are broken in a little bit anyway, and all people are a little bit flawed. And almost every single time, and I had two different mentors that I would go to almost every single time, and they're not in program. And every single time I'd say, well, what should I do about this? Blah, 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 expecting this great scheme, this great plan. They would always say, don't do anything. Don't even respond to that text message. Don't even answer that email. No is a complete sentence. One, he said, let those weeds just blow in the wind. And I just am so grateful for that advice. And I don't take it even nearly enough I still go and sit down in the road and block traffic. That's my tendency, is to sit in the road and block traffic and wave a flag while I'm doing it with a megaphone and stir up trouble. But there's so many situations, interpersonal situations, setting aside my public work, where it's just never worth it. It is never worth it to start a fight. It's never worth it to criticize somebody. I remember asking you that the other day. Somebody had said something critical about a friend of mine, and I said, am I responsible to bring this to his attention? And you're like, no.
Yeah.
Well, look at the time, Jeannie. We've spent another 9 minutes. It says
this, and I'll try to go ahead and put some more links up for you on where you can find help. That way you don't have to go back digging through some of the other episodes to find that. But thank you for joining us today. I hope y'all have a wonderful day. I love you, Andrew.
I love you too, Jeannie. I always want to say from the reading, it says it finally admitted that we were powerless. It doesn't say we discovered that we were powerless. We just admitted it, that the powerlessness is beyond, even the fact of the powerlessness is really beyond our control. We just have to acknowledge how powerless we actually are. I love you too so much. I'll see you in a couple of days, and we'll be back on the same screen again together. Thanks to all our friends who've been following these daily meditation live streams. Bye.